so easy every day. Living in love, who on and only LBK. We got rock and roll, we got the blues, two-stepping in the honky tonks and our cowboy boots. Through the dust in review mirror you can see our rhythm and roots. Rhythm and dust in review mirror you can see.
Hi, I'm Jason Robertson, the host of LBK Rhythm and Roots podcast. Welcome to another episode. Today we are at Art Canyon with my friend Robert Rogers. How you doing?
Doing good.
Good. What a beautiful, beautiful thing you have done out here, man.
Thank you. It's been a labor of love.
I can tell. So we are in Robert's home right now, which is just a portion of Art Canyon. Art Canyon is a 45-plus acre old caliche pit, actually.
Mm-hmm. That we have another 55 on the top.
Okay.
So,
and you guys have turned this into an absolute art oasis.
It is. It's been a labor of love for my wife, Carolyn Bird, who's in the other part of the house right now, and it started in 2005 when we bought the property with another couple. Then we ended up buying them out and just taking it on ourselves. It was a lot of work, so they kind of went their way, and then we're doing our deal. So the main thing is that we just wanted a place where all of our friends and like-minded people could come. We have a mile run out here. We have an art venue that we do. We did last year that we had about 22 artists down here.
Nice.
I don't know if you got to come to it or not.
No, I didn't make that one.
We had a little over 400 people come through here, and it was one of the best things we've ever done. And everybody's coming back, and there's all kinds of artists that want to join in. So that's another thing that'll be coming up. Anyway, another labor of love here that we just can't stand to sit still. So I've got to be doing something all the time.
That's right. So when you acquired this property, I mean, it was basically just a caliche pit.
It was a caliche pit.
Was there any of the trees or anything here?
Yeah, some of the trees were here. Most of the trees that you see, they call them trash elms, and they just grow up anywhere. They probably grow out of a piece of cement, I'm guessing. But when they come up, if it's not something I want, I'll just shred over it, and then let them grow. Like most of the ones that are out here weren't here when we got here. But the pines we did plant here. Some of them are Christmas trees that we planted, and other friends have planted Christmas trees out here. So we just keep adding to it.
So the vision for this, was this going to be, did you intentionally buy this as your forever home, or was this just a project for an art studio, or how did it start?
It started, we were looking in Dickens for a place and found some property kind of like, but on the way back, we decided that's just too far away. We just can't do it. So we heard about this place, came out and looked at it, and I contacted the farmers about every 3 or 4 months, and they weren't interested in selling. And then I think what happened is somebody got hurt down here on a motorcycle. And I ended up calling them not too long after that, and they said, we just had a meeting about all that. We're going to sell it. So I was ecstatic, but it took a while to get it all on paper. But once we bought it in 2005, that's when we started resculpting everything. And it's like you said, it's a big canvas to work on. But we sure have had a good time doing it.
So you've got the main house here, which is your residence. You've got the art studio.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about what goes on in the studio.
That was built last year. And the reason for that is that I was working out of one of the back bedrooms here, and every time somebody would come to visit or something, I'd have to break down everything and clean everything up. Whereas this studio, I'll work out there and be in the middle of the night, and I can just walk away and come back over here, go to sleep. And the way that I work, sometimes I'll wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning and go, I could do another lick on this, up, out I go. So that was the impetus of doing that. Plus, it's another place where someone can stay.
Absolutely.
So when we have groups coming down or we have a big gathering down here, then it's another place. I think we can house about 15 people now.
When you say work, you're talking about not only painting, but jewelry work.
Yes, sir.
You're an active jeweler, big part of Robert Lance Jewelers for a long time now.
Long time. Probably close to 40 years now in the jewelry business, which I guess my art part is kind of taken over the technical part of the jewelry line. So I do more of an art type of, I don't know what you call it now. I call them mystics, but they're like little people that I make. And so I have galleries that carry that as well as my paintings, and then I do sculptures. So when I get washed out trying to figure out what to do with the land, I'll go over there and start working on art. But fortunately, I'm married to a woman that lets me do just about anything I want to, and she's right in there with me. So we're very fortunate to have each other and have the kind of friends that we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So not only are you an artist in that respect, but you've played music.
Well, I play the drums, and I wouldn't say I'm a good drummer, but I can keep a beat. I play with the Steve Gary Band, which it's me and Steve Gary and Jim Epler and Kelly Turner, and we just have a great time.
That's a rowdy bunch of characters
I'm
right
telling
there.
you. We don't get to play very much because we're all spread out so much, but when we do, we pack the house and just have a great time.
Mason used to play with you guys some too.
He does play with us occasionally. He'll pop in, or we let anybody play with us. So it's like I said, it's a good time. We used to play every Wednesday night at La Diosa, and that was about a year of that. And then finally, Steve moved off, and he's over in the Hill Country now. But he'll be back in when we have Willis Allen Ramsey coming in. He'll be leading out with him. He and Kelly Turner will play, and then Willis Allen Ramsey. That's on the 4th of May, but it's already sold out.
Well, and that's the other part of Art Canyon that I wanted to touch on a little bit is the listening room, where you do have some Americana-type singer-songwriter groups, Steve Gary, the Rifters, William Allen Ramsey, Susan Gibson. That was a great show.
Oh, man. Yeah,
and the energy in there is really good. I've been to one of those shows, and man, what a quaint little room to have that experience.
It's a lot of fun, and we promote the fun as much as the music. We have David Moody's going to have the barbecue this time, and he's an incredible barbecue guy. So for the Willis Allen Ramsey, he'll be selling barbecue, and people try to come down here a little bit early before it gets dark, and they'll walk the land and absorb all the fun stuff that we have out here. It's just a really, really oasis away from all the rest of the city lights,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Casita, which is another residence where you have people, some of the artists that come through, they stay there, correct?
It's a 2-bedroom casita that has a kitchen in it, and when bands come through, they're able to stay there. A lot of bands that are coming from New Mexico through going to Dallas or Austin or something like that, they usually have to stay somewhere on the road. So we kind of got it out now that we're a place that they can stop and hang out and go on down the road. They can play. They don't actually have to play here. Some people just like to stop here and hang out. Steve Gary, when he comes through, they stay over at the Casita for about a week while they're revisiting all the Lubbock people, and we have a great time. We eat everybody comes down. We have big dinners and stuff down here. So lots of fun, really lots of fun.
Well, and you've got some other events that you do. You guys are really good about giving back to the community and putting on some things out here. Why don't you tell me about just some of the other things that kind of are planned out here, some things that you guys host out here at Art Canyon?
we try to give back. We've had an event that we'll have every year that's for the Camp Mary White, which is a camp that's out in New Mexico, and we do a fundraiser for them, and they pack the house with that. That's a lot of fun. And then we've done some weddings out here. We've done some community stuff for the women's league out here. Carolyn's better at all this. She can tell you everyone that we've had. We probably had, I don't know, 20 of them down here. But we really, it's not a money maker so much for us. It's more of a give back to the community. But our biggest thing that we're going to start pushing towards is having more art down here. So
art shows.
Well, we had a show this last summer. I'm sorry, it was in November, right before Christmas. We had 22 artists down here that we drew in. About a little over 400 people came through.
Oh, wow.
And unlike other places that artists set up, usually, people come and then they go to someplace else. And this one, everybody was here and people stayed all day long. I mean, it was such a treat to have some people we hadn't seen in a long time sit on the couches and everybody sold a lot of art, so it worked out pretty good for everybody, and everybody's back on board this year to do the same thing. So I'm not sure if we have the dates yet, but it'll be again, it'll be in November.
November this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I wanted to mention is your social media platforms where people can find out what's going on at Art Canyon, I guess, Facebook.
Yeah, I don't do all the other ones. I'm not smart enough to figure out all of them, I guess, but...
You're
Facebook.
better off, I promise.
I know. I tried just a little bit, and it was too daunting, so I decided not to. So I just post on Facebook. But all of our artists, once we get started with the dates and stuff, they push out to all their collectors and all their friends. So it goes out pretty quick. And I think this year we're going to have a lot more than 400 people coming down.
How many artists do you anticipate having this year? Is it an invite thing where y'all invite certain artists, or they apply to come be a part of it, or how does that work?
It's a little of both. We've got a few new ones, but the artists that were here last year, they all want to come back. So I only have a certain amount of facilities, but we are looking at, we might have a tent this year. Just depends on how everything rolls out, but for sure we're going to have 25 artists down here.
Nice.
And we try to keep them mostly local people, but I'm not opposed to bringing in some of our other artists from closer towns that don't have the ability to show.
Absolutely.
It's hard to sell art out of your home. So
it is.
If you don't have a gallery or some kind of venue that you can set up, it's hard to sell. Even if you're a good artist, it's hard to sell.
Well, and this seems like the perfect place to do that.
It has been. We'll see.
I mean, all of the structures, the landscape, it's all a piece of art in my eyes. I mean, I can tell you guys have put your heart and soul into this thing.
We have. We have to wait for money to show up every once in a while, but for some reason, about the time we think, well, we better slow down, something always hits, and then we're able to do the next venture. Mostly, like right now, we've completely reseeded. We had an opportunity. I needed to kind of resculpt all the land a little bit. And when Red Feather started digging their golf course over here, they had to get rid of a bunch of soil. So we ended up taking it, and it was about 181,000 tons of soil that they brought in. And it was months of me being on my tractor showing where to put it and stuff like that. And once that all got done, then we started bringing in topsoil. Well, when the school, they had a bunch of topsoil they had left over, so they hollered at us, and we brought in another 60 tons of that. Not 60 tons, 60 belly dumps of that. So that covered some of the hills that blew out in that first rain that we had. So we just now seeded it with a bunch of natural grasses as well as a couple of mounds. There's a women's mound over here that's going to have nothing but flowers on top of it.
Oh, neat.
So we're hoping to have a little rain so that it'll start coming up.
So back to the music. Have you got some more shows lined up coming this year, possibly, that we can talk about, or is there some under wraps?
I'll let you know.
I'm going to have to keep an eye out. So make sure you keep tuned in to the Art Canyon Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And that way you can find out what's going on out here. The art shows, the music, and any other events that they might have will be listed on their Facebook. What is the, are you guys kind of seasonal out here with your shows, or is it kind of year round, or?
We used to be only when it was good weather, and then once we enclosed the pavilion where we have our bands play, we can seat about 100 people inside. So we don't have big band stuff. We don't really hire rock bands and stuff like that. It's mostly easy listening where people can really sit down and just enjoy it. We don't have a lot on the planning right now because I wasn't sure how long all this reconstruction was going to be out here. But we've had a lot of inquiries about maybe coming to play here. I don't know if we'll keep doing the band stuff, but I do know that we'll probably start promoting more art stuff down here, which would be in taste with me, my wife, and other people that are in kind of our clan of people that end up showing up down here quite a bit.
Well, as an artist myself, that community that you mentioned is very important.
Oh, man.
You know, whether it's painting or jewelry, or, you know, my wife's an artist as well. She does beadwork and painting, and that community is so important to be immersed in that world with like-minded people that do the same thing. You know?
Well, you know, there was a program on not too long ago about the blue zones, about people that live real long. And one of the main things that they touched base on is having community.
That's right.
The people that were living the longest had people that were, you know, within touching. That they could hang out with and eat with, and, you know, not a whole lot of getting in cars and driving places, but going to other people's houses and eating. So we're kind of shooting for that. We like to live a long time if we can.
Absolutely.
You know, and I don't really want to be in a community where it's not a whole lot of fun.
You know, another thing that I saw on that Blue Zone show, I've seen the same show, was 90% of those communities walk everywhere.
Yeah.
And they have incline and decline, and you've got the perfect place.
Yeah, this is it.
You've got how many mile track do you have?
We have a 1 mile track that goes around the property, but in the actual caliche pit, there's 45 acres. Then we have another 55 that's on top. So there's a lot of hills. We made a lot of hills, and almost every morning, that dog you saw, she makes us walk in the morning. So we go up to the gate, open it up, and then we'll take the mile down all the way around. And, you know, there's always something new growing. There's always something to do. I never lack for something to do. I have to kind of say, what things can I not do today so I can do these things?
That's right.
But we have a lot of friends that show up. Some of them will help us do the work. And I'm always looking for those guys. So
that's right. So if anybody out there is into free labor.
That's right. We got plenty of labor out here.
Well, and I think what's so neat about this place, one of the things that I like, you know, today's windy and the wind's coming straight out of the north, but once you get down in this pit, in this canyon, it's not as bad, you know. It's
not. Sometimes if it comes out of this side over here, sometimes it picks up a little bit, but, you know, if it's windy in Lubbock, it'll be a little bit windy out here. But, you know, with all these trees that have grown up now, we have over 500 trees down in this canyon now. And it's been remarkable. And now we have where Joe Rose has a place above me, he's now leased that out to a nursery. So they're going to be back and forth. It's James and Allison, and they've been friends of ours for a long, long time. So we're excited about them being up there and coming down and helping us do our work down here. And I don't know what else to say. It's just a paradise for us down
Absolutely. There. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this today and letting us come into your home and see all the beautiful art, some that's yours, some of your friends. I mean, beautiful, beautiful pieces in here.
Thanks.
And the architecture is, did you and your wife design the house?
We designed all the structures here. People call them barn dominiums, but what we do is we build them out of metal, and then we build a wood structure inside. So our walls are about 10 inches thick here. So the heating and air conditioning is a lot cheaper. For all the structures that we have here, our bills are about $500 a month.
Yeah, that's crazy cheap.
Yeah, so in this building's about 3,200 square feet.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
But when we designed this, at first it was a 3-bedroom. We were trying to figure out how it all works. And I said, you know, when we have people around, everybody's either next to the kitchen or they're sitting close to where the food is. And so we decided just to do the balcony up there and then have this big open area where everybody can hang out and just have 2 bedrooms. You know, and our friends say, you know, it's hard to sell a 2-bedroom. And I said, you know, I'm going to be dead when that happens. So
You're not going to be too worried about it.
I'm not too worried about it.
Well, man, thank you again.
You bet.
And we're going to give you guys a tour of the property, a virtual tour, and hope you've enjoyed this episode. You can find all these episodes of LBK Rhythm and Roots on City of Lubbock's TV channel, which is My LBK Connect. It'll also be on the City of Lubbock's YouTube channel, and all the audio will be anywhere you can find podcast streaming. So again, Robert, thank you again for having us out to Art Canyon.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Appreciate you coming out.
You guys make sure you tune in to Facebook, the Art Canyon page, and watch for these events. I've been to a couple events out here, and it's one of the most enjoyable things I've been to in Lubbock.
Oh, good.
Thank you for what you've done out here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Thank you.